Almost there. It's almost going. Get it, get it, get it, get it, get it, get it. This ain't the music we picked, but got the 7, 6, 5, 4, 3. And so I didn't say 2 or 1 because I've been on some. Why are you still doing a Canadian drink
I
commercial?
can't see you. Why can I see you?
What?
Oh, there you are.
Man, I didn't do the 2 and the 1 because when you are in a studio, they don't say 2, 1. They go 3 and they like that. So I didn't say the 2 or the 1 on purpose.
Okay. Well, what music was that?
That was the music to the 30-second countdown. That just was just there. So just to count us in. That's why I started talking because we didn't pay for that music and it was free, but
okay. But
we
we're
gotta
going.
what?
But we're going.
We're going. Yeah, we're live.
Okay. Jesus is
Oh.
my GOAT in basketball. I just wanted to start off with saying that.
You said Jesus is your GOAT in basketball.
Yeah, greatest of all time. I'll fight anyone.
By who?
I said I'd fight anyone. I'm dying on that hill.
He don't play basketball.
Exactly. He's still the GOAT. Here's the way I see it. If the man can walk on water, physics don't matter. So how are you going to tell me he can't hoop?
My rose cup from the basketball wasn't invented yet.
It doesn't matter. I still know physics don't matter. He's still the greatest.
So the people that be doing like the long jump and the javelins and like the high jumps and stuff like that, they can play basketball because they can jump high?
No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying physics doesn't matter to him.
I get that. What if there was a piece of glass under the water, like this high, and he's walking on glass? Was glass invented back then?
Yeah, they had glass.
They didn't have glass yet.
They had glass.
Oh. Well,
I don't know. I just said that. I don't know. Regardless.
You've been wanting to say it for like a week.
I know. I can argue it.
Okay, you can argue it. But we gotta play the prayer.
All right.
So we gotta start off. So we're supposed to start off with the prayer like before you said Jesus is your GOAT, I think. But we could do it. I mean, this is our show. We can do it.
It doesn't matter.
Okay.
We're the only ones listening at this point, so it doesn't matter.
We are only 2 followers too. Like, I ain't even told nobody. I think my wife listened. But I'm gonna play the prayer. This is the prayer. So we're gonna play it. Let me know when you hear it. Let's go.
Holy Spirit, I'm here. We're here because of you. Just ask that you do make your presence known. Guide our thoughts, guide our voice, touch all that here. Just use us as willing vessels for your glory. Help us to be fearless. Joshua 1:9. Even though we know we walk through the valley, the shadow of death, help us to fear no evil. As we dive deeper into this journey to discover more of who you are. Lord, we just ask that you be with us always. Help us to not make any missteps that lead anyone away from you, but just to guide them to your glory and to your love. We ask these things in your heavenly name, Father. Amen.
Yeah, I muted us so we didn't run more.
What's funny about that is a tiny part of me wanted to like pray on beat, so it'd be kind of like a rap. So I was like, I'm just gonna save myself from all the embarrassment, especially with Kendrick walking around, and not even do that.
Basta! Man, that dude is ridiculous. Do we got? Can we talk about Kendrick today?
I mean, we can, but
No, we don't
I
need to
mean,
talk about
that's
Kendrick.
it's our subject.
Way off subject. But yeah, I mean, the internet, like they say they're undefeated. But the hilarious part is when they keep doing it to like Dragon Ball Z. That's the only
Oh
anime
yeah,
I watch. And every time they
oh
do it to
yeah,
a Dragon Ball Z, going Saiyan or Super Saiyan or Mega Saiyan, I don't know what the next levels is. I stopped watching after Super.
yeah,
I didn't really get to when he had like the white hair, but the dude is a beast
yeah. It makes
right
sense.
now.
Attach him to Dragon Ball Z.
Yeah. He hasn't put that in his rap yet, but I think when he see all the memes about it, he probably will add that to a rap. Maybe he'll come out with a gold wig on Super Bowl
I doubt it.
and yell, "Master!"
I know he's gonna do that. He's definitely gonna do that song.
When I just did that, it said, "What if Bone Thugs was in the '80s and Arnold Schwarzenegger is singing it?"
Oh
Have you ever
yeah,
heard that?
yeah. I saw that.
So that was the "Master." Tell me what you gonna do. It ain't no rather hard. I don't even sound like
All right, I'm gonna
sound
steer
like
us back. I'm
I
putting
sound
us
like
back on
shit.
subject. Yeah, it was bad. That's why I'm trying to save.
Okay, so before you get there, so let's recap.
Okay.
So first episode that nobody listened to.
Right.
Um,
That's why I say
we had
100.
we had references in there, and we want to kind of clear the air on some of that stuff. Mention some names of some people that are friends of ours, still to this day. Some are closer than others, but no love lost to any of that. Not in the things we talk about are not in a negative way. They are real life situations, um, feelings of the me, feelings of Brandon, because we're the ones talking it and we can make it any way we want to. But we do encourage and we will ask those people that we name that are part of these stories, that are part of this origin story, that are part of this movement we're doing. We can ask them and encourage them to come on, because you are hearing things as you always do from one side, and so what I may say may be the vision or the what I saw in my vision, but it may not have been the whole truth because there's always a whole bunch of parts. So we don't have that. So again, nothing. Not calling anybody out or anything I said last on the first episode one, Orange origin story was not in disrespect of anybody. It was just the situations that happened at that time and how I saw those things. Um, and if I am wrong in those things, anybody can correct me. That is a part of that. And so, not trying to hash up anything negative with anybody, because again, reason, season, lifetime. This is something I don't know where it came from. I think I talked about this in the first one. I might have talked that. I don't know if I talked this in the
You
first
did.
one or if I talked about it
Oh
in.
yeah, yeah. That's
No,
true.
I think I talked about it in the one we messed up.
And the beta episode.
Beta episode. It never, no, you never will hear. If that resurfaces, that's like a Dave Chappelle skit. Um, but I talked about the reason, season, lifetime, and the fact that people come into our life, for a reason, and that season could be however long that season is. But some of them are here for a lifetime. And so I don't know who originated that quote, but one of my old CEOs said that. So again, no love lost, no negativity on anybody that was mentioned in there. So wanted to get that out there first of all.
Well said. Well said. I thought we should kind of like dive deeper into. We know each other very well
Mhm.
since 99, 98 to
Mhm.
2000s, whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I feel like it'd be good if we just dive a little bit deeper into some of the context of our relationship so
Okay.
that when we reference them later, we can just talk like we normally do instead of, you know, going sidebar. This is such and such, or this is, you know, Iowa State, or this is California, or whatever.
Okay.
So
I like
I
that.
want to start off with asking you some type of questions like I don't know you.
Oh, so it's interviewing time.
Yeah, I'm interviewing you.
All right.
We're just gonna lead back to Jesus. It's gonna be some religious questions attached to them. But just to start off, we talked about your childhood a little bit and whatnot. But what brought you to Iowa State? I had to do it.
Um,
It won't be the last time, but it's close to the last time.
um, can, I'm George Trice. I'm George Trice because kids might listen to this one, so I can't.
Yeah.
I'm George Trice. So how I got to Iowa State, how we got to where we are, and how it started. I was gonna go to Michigan. So girlfriend from high school, she was gonna go to Michigan for musical theater, and I was gonna follow her because that's what I wanted to do. Thought I was in love, so I was gonna go to Michigan. What you say?
This is Kristen.
Yeah, Kristen.
All right.
Yeah. So I thought I was in love, and we had dated for like 2 years, like most of all the senior year and like part of junior year, and then like first semester of our freshman year, maybe first half a year, probably first half a year of my freshman year. But um, really, how it happened was it was my senior year. Go future forward. Senior year, every morning I walked into my football coach's room. He was an English teacher, and so my English class was right across from him. So I'm like, all right, let me go say what's up to my coach. So every morning I sat there and he read the paper. He was an old dude. He just read the paper, and it was the first week of school, and he was reading the paper, and he said, "Hey, did you read the paper, Coach? Come on, I don't read the paper." So no, I didn't see any articles you're going to talk about, and I didn't watch the news this morning either. So anything you talked about, I haven't seen. And so he was like, "Oh, Iowa State named their stadium after this Trice guy. Your same last name. Do you know who that is?" I'm like, "No, I don't know. I don't think I know who that is. But that last name's not that common." So we ripped out the article.
Obi Trice.
It's real name, no gimmick. And so I went home and asked my mom, like, "Hey, um, my coach said this about Iowa State and da 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 da." She's like, "Oh yeah, hold on." So she went down. Basically, long story short, she told me who reintroduced me to Jack Trice. I called the school and said, "Hey, I wanted to come visit because I heard that I'm possibly related." And they called me back and said, "Yeah, you're first cousin twice removed. Your grandfather was Jack's first cousin. He was actually out here." And I'm like, "Yeah, I know he was out there in '88." I'm like, "Yeah, so you're your mom's first cousin once removed, then you're twice removed." I'm like, "Oh, okay." I said, "I want to come for a visit. Like, we would love to have you come for a visit." And so I told my mom, like, "I'm going to Iowa State." She said, "No, you're not. Not what I mean." And so uh when we had to plan it. And so we planned it. It happened to be February of my senior year. So cold as hell in Iowa. And got out there, actually stayed with the football team. Some people that I still talk to kind of this day, but some of those guys, they were the 97 team. And so I stayed with them in the dorms, had a room in the Memorial Union with mom. And so came out there, um, and got offered scholarships. I had academic scholarships. It was always easier for me. It was always easier, I think, to tell people that I got recruited for football just because of the questions that came along with me being who I am. It's just easier to just stop the conversation. "Hey, I got recruited for football." Well, I did stay with the football team. I did come there and go sit with the practice facility. I did go see the team. I did go meet, Matt Getty, who I still get to talk to every once in a while, who's our strength and conditioning coach. I did go to the track to do shot put and discus. I did, that's where I met Rocky at, Brandon. So Big Rock, that's where I met him at throwing
Okay.
shot put because I threw shot put and discus in high school. So I got out there and I was there like an athlete, but didn't had all the freedoms of the world to do what I wanted to do as a student, and then still have the access of an athlete, without having to play it down. So something I regret that we'll talk about probably later at some point in time. But that's how I got to Iowa State, and that's how I really started to kind of feel like I belong there.
Cool. Cool. So you are in Surprise now, and if I was supposed to say that, just edit it out later.
No, people don't know what people don't even know what that is. They probably like, "What? Is that real? Is that a real place? Like it's like Christmas? Like
How
going to
close are
Christmas?"
you to Peoria? And that's just
Touch it. I touched Peoria.
you touch. Okay,
Yeah,
that's
Peoria.
a weird way to say that, but
Yeah, Paul's no dating. Like I don't, whatever we can say. But no. So Peoria, like, is 2 streets away.
Okay,
So Peoria, Glendale, Surprise are all that West Valley. It's starting to blend out further too. But yeah, I'm right next to Peoria.
cool, cool. All right, so what hats are you wearing now? An example is just like your job and things of that nature. Father.
Yep. Father, um, kicker. Because I got a 24-year-old that just want to kick his sometimes. Um, and so dad. I work a 9 to 5, so executive at account executive at Travelers Insurance, um, CEO, executive director of a foundation, mentor, coach, uh,
Wrong way. There we go. There we go.
mentor, coach. Think that
Somewhat intentional.
yeah, I think that's what I think those are the hats that I wear on a day to day.
Okay. And outside of the wife and kids, what are you most passionate about?
Giving back. My you always want to leave a legacy of being able to do something and do some good for somebody else other than yourself. I'm not a rich man at all. I live paycheck to paycheck like everybody else does for the most part in America. Um, but I've been afforded opportunities that some people have not and will not ever get to do. And that's not a bragging thing. It's a thing that has just happened. I would say, like, I've been in the Bahamas. I don't know how many of my friends can say they've been in the Bahamas or been out of the country, but for that fact, outside of like Canada maybe. But I've been there a few times. I've been to these other places a few times, and it's because of connections that I've made in college, connections that I made in high school, connections that I've made in my life now, post college, post Best Buy, post Nationwide, and so I always want to give back. I know I try to live by the mantra of doing at least one step better than you did the day before. Just always trying to move forward, and that's the thing about it. I always try to do is try to teach people to move forward. I've been mentoring people for years, and if you can, I think it was I don't know what the saying was, but like if you can't help them, just don't hurt them. So, you always want to do the best and the good that you can without hurting people. And so my whole goal is just to leave an impact of that I try to help and get other people there, because one of the things that in corporate America, they talk about leaders not pulling people up because they don't want people to surpass them. Everybody has a different skill set, and if somebody passes me and I can help somebody get a better position or a better way of life than I do, then I've done something good. I live a good life. We always want to strive to do better, but if I can help others to do that and they have a different skill set that's going to put them to this next level, then so be it. Just as long as I'm helping somebody and leaving that mark that I was trying to do my best, and I'm not doing it alone. I'm doing it with other people. But what can I do to help others?
Nice. So we got to this podcast through just conversations that we were having, that mainly I was trying to like dig into your spiritual life. And
Mm.
so in that realm of things, like, how would you define your spiritual life?
It's weird when you ask these questions, and I say some of the things I say, and then I look at my life. I look at some of the things I do in my day to day. Like, for example, I pray over my food every time. I make my kids say a prayer over food. God, thank you for the food we're about to receive. Blessed in Jesus' name, amen. A simple prayer that I do every time. It's the same prayer I've been doing for years. Um, but I do it before I eat food. And if I have food in my mouth and I forget, I still stop and say it, which is weird given the fact of all the things that we've talked about and the things we talked about in the first episode. And so I know there is a higher being. I have my questions because there are so many different religions, so many different gods, so many different idols, or whatever the case may be. I grew up Christian. I grew up Pentecostal. I grew up, like I said, all day in the church. And so I heard the word, whether it was the word meant for me or somebody else. I heard at some point in time in those 7 hours of church on a Sunday, I heard something that was meant for me. And so I grew up that way. And so my spirituality is great. I have the sense of the higher power. I fear things that are out there that I can't explain, that I can't control as well. And so I think that is where you're asking about, does that define my spirituality?
Okay. So just to go dig a little deeper, what is or who is Jesus to you?
Jesus is God's only begotten son. That's what the Bible says.
Yeah.
Um, so to me, Jesus is that overarching being. I don't Father, Son, Holy Spirit. We're going to get into this later at some point in time where you say they're the same, but they're different at the same time. Come on, brother. You got to explain that one to me. But, I look at that and I say, Jesus is who we believe him to be. Jesus is, Jesus said Jesus is your goat. Jesus don't play
Yeah.
basketball, but Jesus is your goat. Jesus is who that's your North Star. That's where you get, I feel like that's where you get who you are, who you're trying to be. And
Okay.
I feel like Jesus for me is that same being, is that same thing, is that North Star of my morality, my empathy, my emotional IQ. I think that's my North Star. I think that my spirituality points me to that North Star. And Jesus is my North Star, even though I may not say it's Jesus. This being that is there, this God that is there, that I believe that there's something out watching over me. So that's what I would say. I don't have an answer to who is Jesus to me, because that's a question that I have in my mind at all times.
Okay. So that's what I was trying to get at. So there's a question mark there,
Yes.
but you said a lot of things that would make me believe that there isn't a question mark there. So where is the disconnect?
I I I I just, when I look at the difference of, and we talked about this, it's, there's so many different study Bibles, there's so many different versions of the Bible, there's so many different religions, and so as a people, we're all the human race, but we all look at different gods in a different way. There's a different God for every religion, for every different the different pieces of the different people in the world. Um, and so when I think about what that is, that's why I always say a being. There's something that's there, and I never put a word on it. Growing up, you have white Jesus. You have a white, blonde haired, blue eyed person that's really prominent on everything. You got Buddy
And
Christ in
and
Dogma.
the premise, defense, he was a brunette.
He's a
Wasn't
brunette.
blonde. Yeah, he's not blonde.
Well,
The
no,
white
he's
supremacy
not.
is
He's not
is
a.
not blonde.
He's not brunette either.
He has brown hair.
Brown. Yeah,
Yeah, isn't
I'm
that what
good.
brunette is?
I'm good with brown. Just call it brown.
Okay,
Like when you say something is taupe, it's tan or
I
it's
was
what?
in my white supremacy bag, so like I
Okay.
wasn't trying to speak like myself.
Yeah, but there were no white people in the Bible. And where the Bible took place at, were there white people? We'll get into that later. But um, but yeah, so I think about that as why I do have those question marks. So why I pray over things is, I'm married to a white woman, product of my environment. Honestly, I mean, I lived in Iowa for a long time. There weren't a lot of black people in there. What you gonna say?
Okay, what?
So, I expanded my horizons,
I
and
mean, Lisa's the one for you, right? That's what you need to say right now, because I'm afraid for you. After
don't be afraid for me. But what I'm saying is,
I get what you're saying.
had I not left inner city Cleveland, my life would be different. I may be with somebody different. Had I stayed in California and not got with Lisa, I might have been with a Hispanic girl, because there are a lot of Hispanics in the area I was in. There was a lot of Filipinos. So it's like a product of my environment. I lived in Iowa for so long, that's the person I gravitated to. So I didn't look at that, because I got a funny story about that too. Is one time my grandfather asked me if I had a girlfriend. My grandfather was born in 1925. He asked me if I had a girlfriend, and he knew I was at Iowa State. I said, "Yeah, I got a girlfriend." And he looked at me. He said, "Is she colored?" I said, I said, no, granddad, she's not. He looked at me. He's like, huh. He's like, is she nice? I'm like, yeah, she nice. He's like, oh, okay. He's like, all right, I want to meet her. And so, granddad, met Lisa. She was the first girl I took home like after Christmas, after Kristen. But yeah, so my grandfather had those questions. But again, it's I was looking, yeah, I'm not gonna make the reference I was about to say. I was gonna talk
Okay.
about, political stuff and something that happened a long, long time ago in politics, that was all over the news. But um, but yeah, so I look at that and I say, um, what is and who is that question mark? Even though I told you that I grew up in the church, so 6 days
Right.
in the church is going to, muscle memory. They say you hear something so long, so many times, is you're gonna think about it. You're gonna remember it, just like I remember songs. I say that prayer over and over. I can say it in my sleep. That prayer over my food. But I grew up, kind of programmed for 10 years into this world, 8 years into this world of God, Christianity, and that's all I had for that time. And so, yes, I did pick up on some things that are second nature. And do I believe it? I have to believe it because I keep saying it. I keep making my kids pray over it. My wife and kids go to church. They go to church more than I do. They go to church at least twice a month. Um, and I don't, but they love going to church. They come home and tell me what they learned about Jesus and things like that. And I will make sure to never discount that for them. But for me, I have my questions. For them, they asked to go to church. I'm not making them go to church. They asked my wife, when are we going to church? We haven't been to church in a while. So they want to go to church because there's something in their spirit that makes them believe and go. I haven't had, that thing, that gumption has made me want to and feel like I need to go. And when I have gone, I'm like, I'm looking for something and I haven't found what I was looking for. So that's where I have my questions.
So there is I guess, a saying in the Christian church where they say that you have a personal relationship with Jesus. Do you feel like that exists in your life right now, or is it more just a routine that you need to do?
Um, the prayer over my food's routine. I pray over my food because I am thankful that I am able to eat. I am thankful that I'm able to feed my family. And I know that it's not because of me. It's not all, like I said it before, it's not all on me. I can't help everybody, I can't do everything. And so I know that the ability for me to have the job that I have to be able to do this, I know that it comes from um, you know, God. I know it comes from, the being above. So I do know that. So I don't think it's so while it's routine, I do think there's the belief in there.
Okay.
There's power in words, and there are certain words that I will pick up on and that I will um gravitate to because of I feel drawn to them. So I am drawn to certain things. Um and I grew up with good pastors that had good words that made me, drawn to them. So is it routine? Partially. Is it belief? Yes. So I don't discount either one of them.
Okay. I'm not sure uh, the personal relationship part. Did you say? Did you touch on that?
My personal relationship with Jesus.
Yeah. Do you feel like you have one?
How do you know if you have a personal relationship with Jesus? What are some
Wow.
yeah, what
Oh.
yeah, what
No,
are what are
what I wanted to say, I'm just gonna say it. It's
okay,
kind of
yeah.
like when I'm not gonna name any names, but as a friend of both of ours, and I don't know her current status, but at the time she asked if how do you know if you have an orgasm or not? Like if you have to ask that question, then you don't. That's what I was about to say. And
Okay.
I don't expect her to listen to this, but she's gonna be mad at me.
So well, woo,
Yeah.
Will
Yep.
Smith had a new thing. He's like, look at this watch. He's trying to be a thug now. But anyway,
Right.
I
So
will
you
say
feel it. You feel it. It's definitely a strong feeling.
it's a strong feeling. So you and I have almost died together twice at
Okay.
minimum.
Yep.
Two things the two times I'm going to talk about. This is the first. I think this is the first time. It was driving to Peoria. Not when we were playing in the Gus Macker and I went over to Median and all that stuff. That one wasn't it. But we were driving to Peoria. I think we were coming from your parents' house and we were driving back to the crib from Peoria. And it was a rainy night. It was in the SHO. It was a rainy night, and we're driving, and it's dark, raining. Like cats and dogs. Like you can't see nothing. And we hydroplaned. I feel like we spent like 2-3 times. He will say like we spent like 7 times. I don't know how many times we
I
spent.
don't even feel like we went like like donuts. I feel like we kept switching like we're whiptailing.
No, we went in a circle
We
because
just straight circles the whole time.
well, yes,
Okay.
we were spinning, and in the movie the undercover brother, he has the big goat and he in there Cadillac doing this,
Yeah.
not spilling his drink. That's how I was doing it. I was cool and calm with it, and the car
We were gonna die.
when
That's why I was calm.
when we came to a stop, we were facing traffic. So we're on the freeway. We're on 80. So 80 is at least 4 lanes each way. And the car stopped and we were facing ongoing traffic. But there was no vehicles within a half a mile in the front or back of us. Car cut off. Like hydroplaning just cut off. Got the car started back up, pulled over to the side, right, turned it around, put over to the side, and all of a sudden a semi comes. Like that was one time.
I want to add to that.
Go ahead.
So we're close to Iowa City, where there's construction, and so like I kept on seeing the bricks in the
Mhm.
middle. It wasn't like we were gonna hit the grass. I thought we were gonna die because I was like, that's concrete, and that's gonna hurt.
Yeah. It was the barriers, those
Yeah.
concrete barriers were there. And that was, that was one time. And then the other time was I did clip a curb doing something. I clipped a curb and my gas line didn't know what happened, but my car cut off. It was leaking something or whatever. And you could smell a little bit something. You could smell it. And I'm like, man. And at that time, I smoked Black and Milds, and so I'm like, oh, I got a lighter in the car. I ain't got no flashlight, but I got a lighter. So I went into the car, right where this brake was, whatever it was, oil, gas, brake fluid, whatever. And I tried to light my lighter, and the lighter didn't light like 2 or 3 times. And the lighter was brand new because I had just lit my Black and Mild 20 minutes before that, probably. And Brandon's like, "What the hell are you doing?" Like this it's ether. It'll explode. Like he's like, you could blow us up. And like, that was that divine intervention. That was God. That was intervening. And so those were 2 times that, we have, been. And I've been in some other situations where I probably should have made it, could have made it.
I want to add one to that. So it's not full time, but it's a half a time.
Okay.
So we went to see a movie called Gone in 60 Seconds.
Mm, mm.
And
We did not almost.
but I mean, it could have. You didn't have control of the car. We ended up in someone's driveway or grass front yard because you're trying to turn a corner in a neighborhood. Too tight.
Did you die?
No, I'm saying I said it's a half because like you didn't have control of the car, but we weren't close to hitting anything. We just were way off the road.
For our 2 listeners,
Yeah.
we I didn't have a stick.
No.
I was acting like I had a stick. I was shifting without shifting. Yeah, I remember that one. We just ran up on some grass. That wasn't.
Yeah.
So there is that relationship there. And the fact that I encourage my kids to go to church, there is the relationship, there is that there. So it's just like, Easter Bunny, Santa Claus. I'm not putting them in the same thing, but like you want your kids to believe in something, better than themselves. You want them to believe that there is someone out there protecting them and giving them the things, because again, I'm not responsible for giving them all the things that that I've given them. Because there are situations in my life that could have gone different ways where I wouldn't be able to do these things. So that's my I think my explanation of my personal relationship.
Okay. I'm looking for a Bible verse right now. I don't know why I didn't find it. So yeah, I can't find it. There's a Bible verse that basically says if you confess with your mouth that Jesus is Lord and he died and he rose again on the third day, then you're a follower of God, of the real God. Do you feel like that's where you're at, or are you still questioning if that's the real God?
I believe that you believe and other people believe that that's the real God.
I'm asking
What
where
I
you.
what I what I will say to that is something happened. I don't know what happened. I wasn't there.
Okay,
But
okay,
a whole bunch of people put a rock over a grave. That rock is moved and there's no body in there.
okay. So you believe all this you think is real?
No, I didn't say none of that. No, nope, I'm not saying that.
Okay, I'm asking
What
what
I'm
you
what I'm
what you
saying is
think.
this is the story that is in the
Yeah,
Bible.
right. I'm asking what you think, and we know it's in the Bible.
Oh, I don't know what happened. Wasn't
Okay,
there.
so you're just a question mark. This is where the question mark. So you are just to establish things. You believe that there is a creator.
Yep.
You just don't know who that creator is
Correct.
as a like characteristics of like, oh, this group has it right or this group has it right.
Yep.
But you just know there is a thing
Yep.
or a being out there. I shouldn't say thing. Sorry, God. But okay.
Yeah. You know, um, walking on water, turning water into wine, moving a 50-ton brick out of the front of his grave and going somewhere. Like there are things that like I talked about, and either I don't know if it was the beta episode or episode one, where it's like if I tell you something today, by the time it gets to the fifth person, things have changed in that original story. My original story could be 5 words, but by the time it got to somebody else, it's 37 words. But I
Okay.
only said 5 words. And so I look at these things and I say that there could be accounts by multiple people on there. But again, this is still the account of one person writing this account of what they talk to people about. So I got the movie Brown Sugar on in the background
Right.
and another movie. Let's talk about the movie The Wood. And in The
Okay.
Wood, it's talking about, he says something about that's the whole thing of an art of an author is to embellish things in their own idealistic little world. That's what the one dude says to the other dude. They're talking about how you can write the book, how you can write a movie or write a book, and you can change it to fit how you want it to fit. And that is the question where I haven't read the other versions of the Bible. And so that's where I say I have those questions is because I don't know if they say the same story in Judaism. I don't know if they say the same story in Buddhist. I don't know if they say the same story in Hindu. I don't know if those are the same stories in the gods that they represent because I haven't read those books. I just
Hindu
know
and
I just know there are
Buddhist.
multiple books of our Bible or Christianity. What do you say?
Hindu and Buddhist isn't. I wouldn't put that in the same even category as our Christian Bible. They wouldn't have the same material at all.
I,
I'm
I'm just
just
going about
letting you know.
religion. I'm just going about
I
religion.
know.
I'm just talking religion. Just talking
Okay.
this we're talking about religion. So I'm just going about religion and the religions that I kind of know of.
Okay. You said something I wanted to push back on. Uh, different. So like, just so I will get back to it, but the what's it called? The telephone game didn't really apply then because they didn't have really good means of like telling stories without getting it right perfectly. So that was like there's like if you're Jewish, you spent 15 years memorizing the stories that the guy taught you. And there are so many copies of the Bible that they're able to check them against each other to know that even though they were spread out in different areas, like the manuscripts match for the most part. There's like um, variances in them, but they're like he twice or like I or something like that. There's no major differences in the scripts that they have, but we can get into that later.
Okay. I can't wait to interview you.
All right.
All these questions.
Well, like, but this is what brought us to here, and I think that's important because I think that's the reason why we're here is to embrace or basically just to bring to light those differences in opinion and what can cause someone to have questions or to be skeptical of things. Because uh, I've ran through some of these questions myself, not the same as you, but it's just good to get those out there and have conversations about them.
Yeah, no, I mean that's you're exactly right. That is how we got to this point that we're in. It's like I say, I mean, I got my Bible here in my office. I haven't opened, I mean, I opened it in the first beta episode. That was the first time I've opened it since I got it, years ago. So I haven't brushed up on it. Um, so there are oh, this is the Holy Bible red letter, the Pilgrim Study Bible. That is what I got right here.
Okay.
I gotta see what I got next to my bed because I have one, I think, in my nightstand. But this is the red letter concordance, the Pilgrim Study Bible by Oxford. Now, don't Oxford write like dictionaries and encyclopedias and stuff? Ain't they the ones
Probably.
that? Yeah. So now they just make up words because skibbity and riz are now in the dictionary and they real.
All words
So
are made up.
see, that's what I'm saying. So all words are made up, and
Okay.
so we don't have true accounts of anything.
I think I don't get that step, but okay. I was just saying, like every word was made up at some point.
What if at that time walking didn't really mean walking? Maybe it meant swimming at that time. Maybe he was swimming on water. Maybe he really didn't walk. What if it was swimming? What if
Uh,
what if
walking meant walking.
what if he cut his finger and the blood got into the water and made it look like wine and
People drank it and said this tastes like the best wine ever.
yep.
Okay.
What if? I'm just all I'm saying is that there's questions, things are said that people say. I don't I make it a joke
I
about those
I
two
know.
things. If 18 people say he walked on water, then he walked on water. If 18 people say he turned water into wine, he turned water into wine. You can't dispute when you have so many people accounting for the same thing. I get what you're saying about that. If this many people account, and somebody writes this and somebody writes that, and they verify together, then we have the fact. I
Right.
get it.
Uh, Are you familiar with C.S. Lewis, like Narnia, the
Yeah,
writer?
you made me watch some of that stuff.
Okay. He has a one of his most popular books called Mere Christianity. I, I'm going to say I've read it, but I listened to it like 3 times. One of his quotes that I really enjoyed was, Christianity is either true and the most important thing ever, or not true and completely worthless. But there's no middle. Just wanted to point that out when you open your Bible and things.
Now, let me turn this back around. Is You said that about Christianity,
Mhm.
Narnia. That's a movie with the lion. They made the movie with the lion and stuff in that, right? Like
Yeah,
they portrayed the story of the king. Like, okay, I'm just making sure I got my stuff right.
right.
But you're talking about a dude that's a Christian talking about Christianity, but there are
Yeah.
all these other religions, and we're all from one people and all from the same people, correct?
Okay.
So you have this guy talking about Christianity, where you got to believe it or whatever, but there are these other religions as well. So with so many different religions, but everybody's from the same people, the stories, the accounts, the people should basically, in my mind, be the same. And that is where I question things because if there are these many gods, and we want to say that, you want to say there's a false god for one of these other religions, they can say that they're going to say this basically the same thing about our God. You have a false god. Maybe they're doing the same thing, but it's like when you have all these different religions and all these different gods, you have some overlapping in things. Doesn't that's where the questions come in, is because who's to say that Christians are right? Who's to say that Buddhists are right? Who's to say that? I mean, so who's to say who is right when it comes to these things and comes to these accounts? Just like part of the reason we got on this was because we were talking about science. And I was talking about dinosaurs and how, you know, it just doesn't add up with the timing. It just doesn't add up when you talk about, when dinosaurs were here and then when man came and so on and so forth. It doesn't line up with the Bible. And you say science doesn't always line up, and carbon dating is not. I think you told me carbon dating is not real per se, to an extent. But I look at these things and say that's where these questions that I have come from, is because I have, now that I'm not just in Cleveland, Ohio, and that I've moved to other places and met other people, see that there are these other religions. They see these other things that people believe in. And just like when I took my Christmas tree into the office the other day, because I had an extra one because I got 9 in my house and
It's
I'm not
not a
going
Christmas
to
tree. What's I don't understand.
holiday tree, because
Oh, okay.
I don't
Okay.
know what everybody represents
Okay.
at work. So I have to be, agnostic to the fact, I think I'm using that word right, but saying that, hey, this is a holiday tree. We're gonna get the holiday off. And this holiday right now at December, there is Kwanzaa, there is Yom Kippur, there is Christmas, there is, you know, Canadian Boxing Day. There's a whole bunch of stuff that happens in that month. And so it's a holiday, time. But again, it's who to say that, what are you listening to that you bob in your head when I'm talking about all these other
I'm
religions?
just
Like,
listening to you. I'm not listening
oh,
to anything.
you
I'm just
know,
listening to you.
put that on the beat. Oh, um,
Dude,
I said, oh.
you almost got me saying negus on the pod.
um, and so that's where I just say, like, that's where kind of these questions come from, is because we're talking about the Christianity piece on it. And I'm sure we're gonna have people that aren't Christians listen to this, or are atheists or whatever they want to be. But um, again, we can't say that everything we know, everything that we say is correct. That's what I'm saying. Because
Okay.
there's a lot of different things and a lot of different accounts from different people, because they lived in different areas and they saw God do something different than, because in Norway, making this up, everything's frozen. He couldn't, I mean, he walking on water. Technically, if you walking on ice, you are technically walking on water. So if in their account they say he walked on water, oh, the pond was frozen over, or the lake was frozen over, and he walked across the lake that was ice, but technically it is water. So it is true. And that's where I say, like, you have these different accounts from different groups, from different people, and depending on where they are, because if they were in Saudi Arabia and they believe something different, they ain't not gonna see him walk on water because it's all sand over there, or back at that time. So, yeah, that's why I say there's these different things where I get my questions from, because people are in different areas seeing different things. And so it can be walking on water, or turning water into wine, or rising, whatever, can be metaphors for other things in other religions, because they didn't see that. If that's the one true God, and it's this what they saw, what they believe, and they're looking at these other things, they might not have seen that. And that's not something they can believe because of what was there at their time. That's all I'm saying.
Okay. You said a lot. I don't know which one I wanted to address. Uh,
Well, you got 10, 11 minutes to do it, because these can't be over an hour and
I
5 minutes.
okay. I don't think I'm telling you my opinion in a sense, because like I didn't do. If I stick to what's written down, I
Mhm.
didn't write it. I didn't write it
Yep.
down. And so the way I look at it is, I started with, you can't say, you have to be a thinking person, and I think atheist is like a weird faith. Basically, I think it's a cop out to think we're all just here by accident, because the conclusion to that is nothing matters.
Yeah, I believe that. I don't believe that one at all.
Right. But that's what I'm
I
saying.
agree.
Like
Yeah, I agree
if
with you
you're
on
an
that.
atheist, then you're basically saying nothing matters. We're all accidents. So like if um, like Hitler and Mother Teresa's life were virtually the same because nothing matters. So like I think
Are they saying is that what atheist means?
you no, the atheists are saying like they don't think it through. They're just basically saying there's no God. And I'm saying if you're saying there's no God, then we're all accidents. And for all accidents, why does it matter if you die or I do? Or I do. If I'm a jerk
Yeah, but
or
you
not.
brought Mother Teresa and Hitler in there.
Yeah, yeah. That's just my example to show like
That one was
one's
a deep
life was
example.
very, very well led, and another was not so much. Did a
Based
lot of
on the
harm.
opinion of the people that saw it.
Huh? But
Based on
I'm saying if there's no God, then yeah, you can say, oh, you can justify Hitler's actions because to you that's right.
you can. If you are a
If
horrible
there's no
person,
God, if
if
there's no
you're a
God,
horrible no, if you're just a horrible person.
I know, but I'm saying from the atheist standpoint,
I
there's no God, so there's no value on our lives. We're all just accidents. You can't. There's people. If morality comes from each of us, so your morality and my morality could be different, and we can justify it just because I think it's right and you think it's right. Then someone can justify Hitler's behavior. So that's what I'm saying. Like you can't. I feel like being an atheist is just lazy and not thinking because like how do we get here? Like if I showed you, and I'm still in a whole bunch of stuff I saw online. If I showed you Mount Rushmore and told you that just showed up, you wouldn't believe me. There's like intelligent design in there. Like someone thought about it and did it.
yeah, but I think but when you're talking about atheists, I think that's just God. That's about God.
Never
That
saying
is
there's no God.
but
That's
that's
what they're
yeah,
saying.
that's strictly about God. That's not about anything else because I think that, whether you believe in God or not does not dictate whether you're a good or bad person. So
I'm saying,
you could still be a good person if you just feel like, "Hey, I just don't wanna hurt nobody. I don't like it when I stub my toe, so I'm not gonna let somebody else stub their toe. Imma try to prevent people from stubbing their toe."
how do you find good if there's no God? That's my point.
If I don't wanna hurt nobody, that doesn't mean I'm evil. That doesn't mean
I didn't say,
that
I
doesn't
didn't
mean
say
I'm good. But that means I'm doing something good in the eyes of someone. Because if
yeah,
again, if I think you could find good without God. There's two O's in good. There's only one O in God. Like but
okay,
I said that as a joke, but
I know,
I'm being serious. Like
but
there doesn't have to be
who
a
defines good?
agreement. Uh, we do.
Okay, so then if your definition of good is like not helping everyone not step their toe, and someone else's definition of good is, hey, I think this country should be all white, so let's just get rid of all the minorities and
That
they're
is different
violent.
than stubbing a
It's not.
toe.
It's not. I'm just saying, like, why is your way good and their way is not good? Because it's gonna make someone happy both ways.
Oh, and that could be a deep conversation because if you look at history, not the Bible, just what we're taught in history,
Okay.
the indigenous people were here,
Yep.
and some people came that aren't our same complexion that
Right.
came and they took over.
Yep.
And those same people brought people of our complexion over
Yeah.
here to do some things.
And none of that
So
was good.
if we all left, the people of the darker complexions all left, um, we just be going back to where we originated from because we didn't originate on this part of the land. Because if we go back to science, it was all one piece of land that broke off. And
Right.
depending on where it ended up in the hemispheres is why it was colder, warmer, whatever. But again, we broke off from all one people, broke off and adapted to where our new piece of land was, because we're all one people, all one human, we're all one human race. I don't I don't think that because a group of people that long time ago took over an area and they wanted to go back to what it was beforehand. I just think that they're different things. But I think that if they sent us all the people of complexion away, that a lot of stuff wouldn't get done probably.
Yeah, but that's like deeper than what I was trying to say. I'm basically saying if God's not defining good and leave it to people, we all can have a different definition of good. And I couldn't argue with yours, and you couldn't argue with mine because it's just based on what we think.
Yeah, but I don't agree with that. And the reason why I don't agree with that is because if I don't want anybody to feel pain, like I don't want anybody to feel the pain of stubbing a toe. I'm still using my stubbing a toe analogy.
Okay.
I don't want anybody to feel the pain of stubbing a toe. So I'm gonna stop you from stubbing your toe. And if I see you like, oh, that hurt, I'm sorry. Like, I know that stuff sucks. Like, that's just being like, hey, I don't want nothing to happen to you like that. I look at that and I say, that is the good, and that is good in people. Now, people doing what you're saying, I just don't look at that as saying like, hey, I want everybody to go away to where you originated from. Like that doesn't make the person bad. That makes the person misguided. I don't think that makes them bad.
But where's the guidance coming from?
I,
It's
I
are you basing your on your morality on your what you think?
Yes, I'm basing my morality on treating people how I want to be treated. I don't want my toe hit. I don't want you to punch me in the face because I know it'll hurt. If I
Okay.
don't want to feel pain, then I'm basing on I don't want to inflict pain on other people, right?
So what if I have no feeling and I like getting punched in the face because I want to know what it feels like? So I just go around punching people in the face because I want to get punched in the face. So I'm treating other people how I want to be treated.
And you're a messed up individual if you like getting punched in the face and you want to
Yeah,
punch other
I'm
people.
just using an example.
Get what you're saying.
Okay.
I don't know many people that want to go get punched in the face.
They
But
don't. That's not the point.
I really inherently don't think that
Mike
people.
Tyson, I'm glad you got your money, but man, that hurt my soul. Anyway, what are you saying?
He did knock him out.
No, but
He didn't knock him
Mike
out.
was holding punches back because he knew if he knocked him out, he wouldn't get paid.
Mike could have took him out in the second round.
I know.
He could have.
No, I know.
I think there was an
We
opportunity.
all saw him training, and none of that was there. None of that was there. But that
He
$20
hurt his
million
leg.
was there.
I don't know what's up with this.
Yeah, I would have done it for $20 million. I'm not mad at him. I just would rather have seen him. Like,
Yeah.
I'm sure he wants the $20 million, and he doesn't care what I want to see. So I'm not mad at him.
But at
anyway.
the end, Jake Paul could have took him out. Like Jake Paul had some opportunities in those last rounds.
He's 60.
He was tired. But he could have took it. He could have taken him out and just shut everybody up. I think Tyson should have did it. But again, I told this the same people. I told this many people. You can't. Jake Paul's the poster child for boxing, even though he's not the poster child for boxing.
He's Rocky. He's Rocky.
You can't let 58-year-old dude come in and knock out your future.
Right.
You can't do that on national TV. So there was no way Mike was going to win that fight. And that has nothing to do with what we were talking about. But we got to end we got to end the podcast on a question mark. Kind of like it's like the Scooby-Doo episode, and we didn't pull the mask off of the villain yet. Because we still got some stuff to talk about because the good, the bad, the ugly. We have to dig into that. We have to dig into the good and bad and the morality piece. I think episode 3 is me interviewing you. I want to just go to the morality good versus bad piece instead of interviewing you next. That's because cool. we already on it.
Yeah,
so we can always post. We can post. I mean, but these are recorded. These aren't live, so we can put them in any order we want to. Really.
Yeah.
But no, I feel you. I get as we close this episode out because we're almost at 60 minutes. As we close this episode out, I do believe that you are right when you say about the good and the bad and looking at it from these different angles, these perspectives. I just believe that nothing outside of God, outside of everything else, I just believe that people inherently are good. I just believe that. I believe we have a lot of inherently good people. I feel that we have a lot of misguided people as well. We have a lot of sheep. We have a lot of wolves. We have a lot of misguided, misunderstood people out there. It's just it's a plethora of it. It's like it's it's wet there. It's you
Yeah.
have a plethora. Like there's a lot of differences out there,
Wow.
and then we got to dig into that a little.
Yeah, that'd be good.
Yeah, so I think that's how we get that out there. Um, kind of do it that way. Word.
Cool. Jesus
All
is my
right.
goat.
Jesus is your goat. I can't feel my face. So mustard. We still got to work on our exit. We don't have really a closing, but we'll figure something out. But we
Just
can
two.
always
98 to go.
98 to go. But
Yeah.
we'll close out with this minute and 47 seconds of pictures of me and Brandon. I'm not playing it again. I did that. That's over. But hey, I got to find an outro video. I will. I got brown sugar in the back. That's where this comes from. Two dudes walking off in the fog. Humphrey Bogart. Hope you don't think you walking off in the
Oh,
fog with
that's
me,
the
Brandon.
scene too, isn't it?
No, not yet.
Oh, okay.
Not yet. They still on the couch.
I thought they were in the hospital. All right.
No. So I'm gonna walk off in the fog with Brandon today. We'll see y'all next week. We'll post this sometimes. Depending on whenever we post this,
Let's
we'll
just
say it right now. Happy
try to
Thanksgiving.
double our followers.
Duh.
Ask well someone on Thanksgiving to follow us.
As ask Will to follow us.
All right.
No, don't do that. Happy Thanksgiving. Try to post this out. I'm gonna post this out tomorrow. So happy Thanksgiving to you. I know you're not listening to it on Thanksgiving, but tomorrow's Thanksgiving. So enjoy your friends, your family. Be thankful. Iowa State placed 5th in the Maui Invitational. They beat Colorado tonight. It was like 30 last I looked, but it was I think like 20. But enjoy this time. We hope that Iowa State wins so that we can be in the first college playoff, top 12 teams, knock ASU out of there. Kansas is a giant killer. They might
It's
even
been
get
fun
the
to watch.
bowl.
It's been fun to watch.
And they've been sucking. Holla at your boy. Peace.
All right. Toodles.